Hey guys, I'm Josh from Layzee Acres. Thanks for tuning in. We're still saving the world one trailer at a time. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do an orientation video on the reflection fifth wheels. Now there's a few reasons why we're going to do this, and they're good reasons. When people do their orientations, often they run through this trailer with all these bells and whistles in a couple hours time, and they forget what was said 20 minutes earlier. So this is for those customers who want to refer back to a video, have a look at what they forgot, and so they can properly operate their trailer. There's also some customers who can't physically come by for an orientation. Maybe we're delivering something to Alberta and they aren't willing to, or they wouldn't come to the dealership and do an orientation in person. And then the third reason is maybe there's a couple of customers out there who are looking to buy a certain brand of trailer and they want to find out how easy this thing is to operate, what kind of maintenance is involved in a big purchase like this. So that's what we're going to try to do today. Our plan is to do a video once a year on each different sub-brand. So one video on Transcend, one video on Reflection, one video on J-Flight, one video on J-Flight SLX. Now there's going to be a few negatives here, okay? The one obvious negative is this is going to be boring, right? It's going to be long, it's going to be boring. You're going to have to skip through parts that you don't want to see me show you where a light switch is or where a black water valve is. That's going to be one negative. The other negative is they change these things all the time. They don't necessarily make a change out of model year. Often they make a change halfway through the year or 3 months into the year, and that will throw things off a little bit. These videos will be as accurate as they can be at the time of filming. But today we're going to do a Reflection 295 RL. It's a popular mid-size fifth wheel. Obviously switches and valves and stuff like that are going to be different places depending on the floor plan you actually get. But this is to give you a broad overview of how to operate and maintain a new Reflection. Thanks guys. Let's start on the outside. Hey guys, we're going to look at the outside of this Reflection brand of trailer. This is an orientation. Hey guys, I'm Josh from Layzee Acres. We're going to look at the outside of this Reflection 295. This is an orientation video, not a sales video, just to give you an idea of operation and maintenance on the outside. So first off here, we have a turning point hitch. Now, right now, this is going to act as a standard regular pin box, right? So the truck comes in, jaws lock in place around this pin here, and it's going to operate regularly. If you want to have this operating in a turning point fashion, what happens, and typically we would do this at the orientation on your exact trailer, what happens is this wedge right here has two bolts in it. Those bolts are going to come out. The wedge is going to get put around the back here, and the two bolts are going to get put back in. What happens, what that means is that the fifth wheel hitch is not going to be able to pivot around this pin here. It's going to be locked in place around those, around that wedge. So we know that's fixed. Then what we do is we come towards the back here and remove these two bolts right here. Okay, those bolts come out, and the pin box is going to rotate on this pivot point right here instead of rotating around the pin at the front. What that does is it lets you have a larger amount of turning radius, so you can use this pin box with a 5.5 foot box, and you can turn right around, and you're at the front corner of your fifth wheel gooseneck is not going to touch the back window of the truck. While we're underneath here, we have a light switch right here that's going to kick on and light up this LED light here at the front, just making it easier for you to hook up at nighttime. Awesome. Down in here in our rougher storage, okay, we have a, just a kind of a metal, rougher, ugly storage. This is for stuff like generators, wood blocks, just random kind of things. We have a light in here that's motion sensitive, or you can just have it operate regularly. If you want to have your motion sensitive lights operate regularly, you kick it to the 2 function. If you want to have it kick on motion sensitive, you kick it on 1. Okay, and then the idea is every time this door opens up, that light's going to come on. Also in here, we have our battery hookup. So our battery goes inside this box right here. Layzee Acres is going to provide a brand new battery for you, hooked up, ready to go. The black wire is negative, the red wire is positive. Okay? You do not need to worry about disconnecting these throughout the season because this trailer has a battery disconnect. But for the winter, you need to unscrew this box, disconnect the leads, and bring this battery inside the house or somewhere warm, and not put it on a concrete floor. If you put it on a concrete floor, it's going to kill the battery. If you leave it out here all winter, your battery is going to be dinked and dead. The battery's going to be no good. So you have to bring your battery in for the winter. Awesome. Coming on the side here, we have a propane tank on either side. All right. So the one 30-pounder is here, the other 30-pounder is on the other side. If you want to have propane, you turn the tank on. That part's easy, right? Now, whichever tank this switch here on the regulator is pointing at, so right now it's pointing this way, so it's pointing at this tank, that's the tank it's going to draw off of. When this tank goes empty, so it goes all the way empty, this green indicator here is going to turn red, and it's going to automatically start drawing off of that tank, the other tank on the other side. But you know this tank's empty because this indicator is red. Okay? What you do then is you flip this around to the other tank. It's going to turn green again because that tank has propane, and you can take this tank off while still operating the propane. When that tank goes empty, this green indicator is going to go red. You can flip it over to this way, and this tank will have propane because you've already got this filled, and you can take off that tank and get that one filled. So just back and forth like that. That's what they're talking about when they say an auto changeover gas regulator. So whichever tank this is pointing at is the tank it's running off of. If it's green, if you have propane. If it's red, you don't. That's as simple as I can make that. Awesome. Right through here, we have our pass-through storage. This is going to look basically the same on all the reflections, maybe different sizes, that kind of stuff. You can see here we have a 50 amp cord. This is an anaconda of a cord. This is a serious cord. It's heavy. It's hard to unravel, that kind of thing, which is why we always adapt these down to 15 amps. But this is a 50 amp cord. Basically, this plugs in to here. Bingo, bango, nice and easy. A lot of sites, though, are not going to have 50 amp service. So you're going to want to get yourself an adapter to go from 50 amps to 30 amps. Okay? This is just our adapter here. It does not come with a trailer. You need to get one of these. So this is adapted down to 30 amps. On 30 amps, you can operate everything in this trailer except a second AC. Most of these reflections do not have a second AC, but if it did, you could not operate both ACs at the same time. But everything else you can operate. Then, if you're at a site that only has 15 amps, we adapt this down from 30 to 15. When I've adapted this down to 15 amps, this is like one of those small, wee little cords, like what I got plugged in right now. You cannot run the AC. But you can run. So you can't run the electric water heater or the AC. You can run everything else but that. So your lights, your furnace, all that kind of fun stuff on 15 amps. But no AC and no electric water heater on 15 amps. Okay? Awesome. Now, we do have auto leveling on this one. We are going to do a specific video on how to operate auto leveling. So we'll come back to that in a separate video. Here, you have your convenience center. It's by Nautilus. There's been different versions of this over the years. Basically, all your plumbing, your water, your drainage is done through here. So, starting at the bottom, we have 2 gray water valves, okay? One for your bathroom gray water, your sink and your shower in your bathroom, and then one for your galley tank, so your kitchen gray water. Then we have a black water valve, and these are labeled, right? Gray, gray, black. Black water is your toilet, okay? When you're operating these valves here, you never want to have your gray water open and your black water at the same time. So that's your first big no-no. Just have one tank open at each time. If you have sewer at the site, okay, like let's say you're plumbed right into the site right there, right into the sewer hose, into the hole in the ground, you can leave your gray waters open, right? Whatever, all your shower water, all your sink water can run right into the sewer. But you make sure you leave your black water closed. The reason we leave the black water closed is if you leave the black water open, the liquids will run out, but the solids will build up on the bottom of the tank. So you leave that closed. Then, when you go to dump your black water tank, you're going to come here, close your grays, okay, and then open your black. and it's going to flow out all at once. Okay, all of the tank will empty. Okay. Then, when you have this black water valve open, you're going to take a garden hose from the site and hook it right here to your black water tank flush and turn the water on with this open. So then what's happening is water's going in here and spraying down the inside of your black water tank and rinsing your tank for you. The issue could be is if you turn this on, you have water going in here and you don't have your black water valve open, that's a problem. Pressure's building up in your tank, that's going to be an issue, okay? So only turn the water on to the black water flush valve when you have the black water open. If you're at a site that does not have sewer, what you're going to do is you're going to pull out of your site when you go to dump your tanks. You're going to go to a dump station. You're going to come right beside that dump station to where the hole in the ground is, and you're going to pull your black water first. Boom. After you've hooked up, of course, not just randomly, right? So you're going to pull your black water first. Hook up a hose here, spray down the inside of your black water tank, clean that out nicely. Then when the black water is done, you're going to close this back up, take off the black water flush, and then drain your gray water tanks. Okay, so like I said, one at a time. You don't drain your black water when you're draining your gray. Here is where your city water connection is. So if you have water at the site, you're just going to bring the hose up through this hole right here, plug it in here, and operate the city water. Turn the water on, bingo bango. Whatever pressure you have going in to this water fitting here is pressure you're going to have in the taps. So most customers get what's called a water pressure regulator, because if the water pressure is too high in the park and it hooks up to your trailer, you could blow your lines. So these lines are rated for 60 psi. You should have a water pressure regulator that regulates it down to below 60 psi. Okay. Then through this fitting, you can also winterize. Okay, so you can read this little legend right here. Turn these valves in a certain position. They're actually in that position right now, and have a jug of antifreeze sitting right here with a cut off piece of hose, thread it into here, put that jug of antifreeze, put that line into the jug of antifreeze, turn your water pump on, and it's going to pump antifreeze through the trailer. I'm going to do a specific video on winterizing. My honest opinion, guys, with winterizing a trailer is pay someone to do it. It's like 60, 70, 80 bucks. Bring it to a dealer, have them do it for you, and then you don't have to worry about it. That's my honest opinion, but we'll do a video on it so you can do it for yourself. But that's the way you would have your valves for winterization. Then you can do city water connection, right? So that's right here. Have the line in, turn the water on, you're ready to go. Now, if you want to fill your freshwater tank, again, you can position these valves in a way that you can fill your freshwater tank from here. This is all labeled here nicely, okay? Here's your outside shower. Basically, there's a blue slinky-like hose, plugs in there. It's kind of like an air fitting, okay? Bingo bango, you have an outside shower with hot and cold water. Here's the problem with outside showers, is people forget to winterize them, so don't forget to winterize them. Then, on the side here, you have cable in, satellite outside TV, and satellite bedroom. If you have cable at the site, you're going to bring the coax in through here into your cable. That's going to split out and operate all your TVs inside the trailer. Satellite signal you can't split before you get to the receiver. So you're going to have a specific line coming from a satellite in through here into the trailer, and you're going to hook up to whatever satellite location you want. So if you want satellite in the living room, you hook up to your satellite in the living room. If you want satellite in the bedroom, you're going to hook up satellite to the bedroom. If you want satellite outside, you're going to hook up to satellite outside TV. All right, that's a little more in depth. We also have a TV antenna on this trailer. We will get to that on the inside. And then right here, there's just an outside receptacle. Okay, so I wasn't kidding. A little bit boring, guys. I understand. That is your Nautilus system, though, on the outside of the trailer. Here is your water heater. There's nothing you do out here. You don't touch a valve. You don't do anything like that. When you go to winterize, if you winterize, like I said, have someone else do it. But if you winterize, this plug here comes out of this location right in here, and that drains your water heater. Okay, that is the most important part of winterizing, bar none. If you just remember to do that, at least you're like $1,000 ahead of the damage. So that's a plug. It just slides in or twists in, but otherwise do not touch this. This is all hot. This is all gas appliances. Don't touch this valve. Nothing. Leave this alone. Everything's operated from the inside of the trailer. Here's our furnace vent. Again, don't touch it. This is hot. Don't touch it. We've already talked about the hydro. It's a 50 amp cord. twists in. You kind of got to line up the teeth. You can figure that out. There's a little blue little light here that lights up, letting you know you have hydro at the service or at the park there. Sometimes you get to a park and a breaker's kicked, power's not working, and you're not sure if it's your trailer or if you're sure if it's the park. This way you can tell you have hydro into the trailer at least, and you know it's a problem with the trailer or it's a problem with the park. All right, here is our slide. Here's our fridge vents. Do not touch these fridge vents. You can, for the winter, if you want to stop critters and stuff like that from getting in here, you can put like a plastic bag in behind. That is above and beyond. You don't need to do that, but otherwise just do not touch these. Okay. Coming down the side here, we have lights. They're all LED on the outside for 2020. At the back here, we have a receiver. In Ontario, you're allowed to tow a trailer behind a fifth wheel as long as you're less than 75 feet overall. And that's what this is designed for. Has a 4-way wiring, lights ready to go for you. The weight rating on this hitch is 300 pounds tongue weight or 3,000 pounds pulling, whichever comes first. Okay, so it's a small boat, little cargo trailer, something like that, or just a bike rack. Okay, but you have spots you can hook chains on and plug in wiring. And the weight rating is right here on the hitch itself, 300 and 3,000. Okay. This right here is to get on the roof of the trailer. You have to maintain the roof of your trailer. You have to get up there every 90 days, 3 months, whatever you want to think of it, and check your seals. If you don't, this trailer will leak. It just matters how long it's going to be. Okay. So get up on your roof, maintain your seals. These roofs, I think on reflection, it's a 12-year warranty on the roof, but that warranty does not cover the seals on the roof. So those have to be maintained religiously. I am going to do a video specifically on roof maintenance, and we'll talk about that. But you have to get up the roof, check your seals religiously. Okay, coming down this way, we have a hole right here. This hole is to bring in the other slide manually if you need to. There's a hole on the other side to bring in this slide. That's if you have an issue with you lose power, you don't have a battery, you're dry camping, you're running out of battery, and you need to close your slides. That's what that's for. It's not for operating manually. These are of course electric slides, right? Here we have a spot for the outside TV. So this is cable. This one's satellite or vice versa. It's not labeled. We can figure that out later. But one of them is for the cable running in that we saw on the other side. The other one specifically for satellite, run directly into here. We have an outside receptacle to plug that TV in. Alright, while we're out here, I'm going to close this slide and we're going to operate this awning. So just bear with me for a few seconds. So as you see while we're off on these slides, they are mechanisms on this slide being erected between the slides and the bottom. So actually the bottom comes in first, and then it's going to start to lean. It's going to lean in. And the top is going to touch first, and the bottom's going to suck in at the bottom. Okay? That clutch, that's designed to do that, lets you know it's all the way in or it's all the way out. Let's operate this on it. Oh, that's the wrong one. So it comes out nice and easy. Basically, it comes out about 8 feet from the trailer. You can tell you've gone too far when it starts to roll back in. Basically, you're designed to have the valance pointing down at 90 degrees. You'll see what I'm saying here in a second. So, it's been rolled up for a while, so the valance is stuck up. But there's a valance there that hangs down at 90 degrees. So that's how far you should go. You shouldn't go any further. Now, originally with these electric awnings, you couldn't adjust the pitch. You couldn't make one side lower than the other. Now you can. How you do it is simple. You just pull down on this arm. It compresses this tube here and it lowers down this side. Okay? So it would probably make more sense to lower the other side so that it runs away from your door. Right? So now whatever water's on there is going to run off this way. So that's something you can do. These are not designed to handle heavy rain situations. So if it's really raining hard, put it away. If it's windy, put it away. An awning collapsing underneath rainwater is not a warranty thing. An awning blowing off from the wind is not a warranty thing. Okay, so you need to put these away if it's any kind of bad weather, that kind of thing. They're just made for keeping sun off you, keeping light rain off you. They're not meant for torrential downpours. Okay, then to put that away is nice and easy. Now while I have this slided in, we're going to talk about the running gear here in a second. Just bear with me. Do you know any good jokes, cameraman? You guys know the difference between a Dutchman and a canoe? A canoe can tip. I'm Dutch. I'm not allowed to say that. Alright. It's better when someone laughs, but no one's actually laughing. Just a little further. Alright, so our tires are 15-inch radial tires, okay? They need to be kept at 65 pounds of pressure, so 65 psi. That's what they have to run at. They're nitro fill. I don't know what I think about nitrogen. I honestly think that if a tire gets low, you just put air in it. You always can go to Canadian Tire, get them to put nitrogen in it, but you should check your tire pressure often, and it should be at 65 pounds of pressure. These lug nuts here are tightened down to 110 foot-pounds. They need to be maintained. It's a new trailer, so you should torque those lug nuts down when you get home and for the first couple trips, because it's only been on the road a few times. Okay. If you pull out this plug right here, there's a black plastic plug in behind that called Bearing Buddies, and you can grease your bearings at 6,000 miles, and then you repack them at 12,000 miles. That's what they're designed to do. And when I mean you can grease them, you can put a shot of grease in at 6,000 miles and repack those bearings at 12,000 miles. It's a long ways away. Something you need to do and maintain. Okay, so 6,000 and 12,000. Awesome. While we're down here, there is a gas fitting down the side here somewhere. Oh, it's right here. It's different on every floor plan. So this is designed. It's a little, looks like a little air fitting there. Okay, it's designed to operate an RVQ or a low pressure barbecue. Your regular Weber barbecue you buy at Canadian Tire is not going to run off of this. This is low pressure. It only runs off half a pound of pressure or 14 inches of water column. So that's what it's designed for. Nice and handy though. You can have a small little barbecue out here. Plug this in. Like I said, it's like an air fitting. Right, so to put something in, you pull the sleeve back, push it in, bingo bango, and then you turn on your valve. Okay. Have this plug in when you're driving down the road. Obviously, keep dirt and debris out of there. All right. Here we have just the other side of our pass-through storage. Okay, not much going on. You got a receptacle. You got another one of those motion-sensitive lights. All right, and then here is one big key though. We have a battery disconnect. So when you're have this trailer in storage and you're not plugged in, and you don't want your battery to go dead because you want to be able to hook up to it when you get back, right? You're going to disconnect this battery. Boom. If you can pull the thing out, the plastic piece, the battery is disconnected. If you can't pull it out, it's not disconnected, all right? It's operating. So when you go to in storage, it's in the driveway, not plugged in, whatever, disconnect it, away you go. There's a radio inside, there's a propane detector inside. Those things are going to slowly draw down your battery, and you're going to come back in 2 weeks and your battery's going to be dead. So disconnect that. And then just on this side, just the other side of the propane tank, the other side of the propane, but there's no valves on this side. That's all controlled from the other side, the off door side there. Just turn it on or off. Okay? That was the outside, guys, as best I could. Let's do some inside. Hey guys, we're inside that reflection now. Like I said, we're going to take this slow, try to hit everything we can. Let's hit the safety stuff first. So right as you walk in the door, you have a fire extinguisher. Hopefully you never have to use that, but that's there in every reflection. Then we have a smoke alarm right here in the hallway. That has a 9-volt battery in it. If the 9-volt battery is low, it's going to beep at you. It's not plumbed into the trailer. Then in the bedroom is a carbon monoxide detector, which also has a 9-volt battery in it. And that needs to be checked. And again, if that battery is low, it's going to chirp at you every 30 seconds. Then down here, we have a propane detector. And of course, this is going to be a different location in every floor plan. But it's here on this model. And this is plumbed right into the 12 volts of the trailer. So if your battery at the front is getting low, you're just dry camping, your battery's getting low, this is going to chirp at you every 30 seconds. You go through a lot, you're going to hear a lot of these chirping at you because we have low batteries sometimes. So that's there. It won't chirp at you obviously if you're plugged in because you're not running off the battery, but if you're just running off battery, that is going to chirp at you. Also, if you're using some different kind of cleaners, it can set that off as well. But it's down near the floor because propane sinks, which makes sense there. Awesome. Let's move over to our propane appliances. So first thing you do when you're going to light your fridge or your furnace, water heater, whatever it is, you always come to your stovetop and light that first. Okay, that bleeds the propane through, gets the air to the lines, and everything else is going to light for you nice and easy. So you turn this to light. I can hear the gas coming through, and I spark it. Okay, it's as simple as that. You can use a lighter if you feel more comfortable with that, but make sure you have your burners running and operating before you go try to light anything else. Then your oven. This is new for this year. All right. I probably should have lit this before I started the video, but basically what you do, turn this to light and hold this in. As you hold this in, you're going to spark it. This sparker used to just do the burners. Now it does the burners and the oven. Okay. The problem is this has never been lit before, so it's going to take a while to get gas to that line, get the air to the line there. I don't want to have you guys waiting. Oh, it's on. I don't want you guys waiting too long. But so there's a little pilot light. Come around, cameraman. See if you can get an angle here below here. So you can see there's a little blue flame back there. Now I'm holding this in for about 30 seconds. Then I let it out. Is it still on? All right, still on. Then I can turn it to whatever temperature I want. Okay, burner lights on. Bingo, bango. Okay. Now, if I'm going to use this oven a few times during the weekend, I can just turn it back to just the pilot, and then light it back on, and then turn it to whatever temperature I want for later. But usually you don't use it that often, so I just turn it off. Okay. So that was the oven. That is the hardest thing to light. The hardest thing to do in this trailer is lighting your oven. Everything else is pretty easy. All right. Now we're into our fridge. This is a gas electric fridge. And to turn your fridge on, there's an on-off button. Boom. Okay? You can always tell your fridge is on because the light inside the fridge on. Now, this button right here beside the on-off button, you can select what mode you want to have it on. Okay? So, I have it on auto right now, which means it's automatically going to run hydro because I have hydro at the site. If I were to unplug, it would automatically go from AC power to gas, automatically. So that's where everybody's going to leave it, okay? But if for some reason you have hydro and you still just want to run on gas, you can push this button and force it to run off gas, okay? If you were on the outside of the trailer now, you would hear something go click, click, click. I don't know if you can hear that in the video or not. But that's trying to light the gas. But for regular use, you just leave it on auto, bingo bango. And if you have hydro, it will run it. If not, it'll flip over to gas automatically. And then now you can control the temperature. You can control this, 3, 4, 5, whatever you want to do. If you put a bunch of warm food in your fridge and turn your fridge on, it's going to take like 6, 7, 8 hours to cool your fridge down. So you want to do that the night before. Make sure you have that fridge cold before you put all that warm food in there. RV fridges are not as efficient as residential fridges, so they take a while to cool down. All right. With nothing in the fridge, it should take about 4 hours or so to get down to temperature. All right. Well, while we're looking at this here, we have all of our original manuals. So there's a bunch of manuals here that are specific for each appliance, like your stovetop, like your leveling, like your all your individual components. Sure, you should read those at your leisure if you want. The one that really makes sense is this reflection one. Okay, there's one in French and English. This is obviously the French one. This goes through how to operate your trailer. It's not specific on the floor plan, but it's like an orientation, generic-wise, that's going to take you through in every kind of component. Okay. If you have a problem with your water heater, sure, read the one on the water heater, but you should read this one right here. Okay. All right. Okay, so right here is our thermostat. to use the AC and the furnace. So you can adjust the temperature with the up and down buttons. That's like your household thermostat. And then you can press the mode button, and that's going to operate fan, high, low, cool for the AC, high, low, or heat. Okay? So whichever button or whichever mode you have it on is going to operate that appliance. We're apparently below 49 degrees in here, and I had it on heat, so the furnace came on. If I want to run the AC, I would push the mode button until it comes to cool. Let's say cool low. And if I was above 49, above 49 degrees, which apparently I am, still here, just a bit, the AC came on. Okay. If I want to turn the furnace back on, I just keep pushing the mode button until I get to heat. If I don't want anything on, I push the mode button again until it comes to off. And then you can adjust your temperature from there. Because I started the furnace, it lit, but I shut it off, so it's gonna run for a minute and a half, 2 minutes after, just to blow out the excess heat, get rid of any excess propane, that kind of stuff. So that will continue to run for a minute. We'll hear it in the background. Right here, as you walk into the trailer, in behind a cupboard door somewhere, and this one's right in front of us, is where you can control your slides. Okay, slide 1, slide 2. We talked about this on the outside, but if I push out, it makes that clutch noise, lets me know I'm all the way out. If I were to bring it in and it comes all the way in, it's going to make that same clutching noise there. Then on this model we have 2 awnings, so one's for your main awning, one is for your secondary awning. We talked about how to operate those. Bring them out until the valance hangs at 90 degrees. You have a porch light, you have a step light, a light to light up the step. You have an awning light. Okay. Here we have our water heater, so get a little closer if you can. We have a gas water heater and an electric water heater. So, if you want to run your water heater on gas, you kick it on gas. Okay. If it has a hard time lighting, there's a red light here that's going to light up. So this DSI fault means it could not light. Okay. So then you would turn it back off, turn it again, try it again, and then most likely just gas isn't there yet. But if you try that a few times, still doesn't work, you got to call somebody. With the electric water heater, I'm not going to kick that on, because if I turn that on right now, if there's no water in the water heater, I'm going to burn out the element in a few minutes. To use the electric water heater, you have to be on 30 amps. We talked about that outside. And you have to make sure you have water in the water heater. If there's no water in the water heater, you're going to burn out your element. That's a problem. Right here is your water pump switch. You hear that come on? Okay. So you have to have water in the freshwater tank. We talked about filling that on the outside. You have to have water in the freshwater tank. You turn your water pump on, and the water pump's going to pump everything up to your taps. Okay. If you have water at the site and you're hooked up to the city water, you don't have to worry about your water pump. You only use the water pump if you're dry camping, so you don't have water at the site and you have water in the water tank. Okay. Something new for 2020 is they have tank heaters. They're 12-volt tank heaters. Basically what that means is there's an electric 12-volt blanket that wraps your individual tank. So it has one in the gray water, has one in the black water, has one in the fresh water. They're all on with one switch, and you can turn those on and keep your tanks warm. The underbelly is heated as well from the furnace. This is an additional piece of heating and keeping your tanks warm throughout the winter. And then we have a ceiling light switch. That's got a nice little backlight on it, so at nighttime you can find it easily. That's just your awning switch for your secondary or your main awning, whichever. And then here is your monitor panel. So you have 5 different things here: battery, fresh water, black water, and gray water 2. Remember, we have 2 gray waters, one for the kitchen tank, one for your bathroom tank. And then black water is your toilet, so you can check the level of your black water. Right now it says E for empty. If it was 1/3 full, it would have 2 lights. If it was 2/3 full, it would have 3 lights. If it was full, it would read F for full. Fresh water and battery, same kind of thing. Now, you can trust your fresh water, you can trust your gray water, you can trust your battery. You cannot trust your black water, because sometimes you'll get little pieces of debris on the sensor, on the 2/3 sensor, and it will read 2/3 full for 2 weeks, even though you know the tank is empty. The black water is not reliable. I get calls on this all the time. The black water is not reliable. Gray water, fresh water, battery should be reliable. Because we're plugged in though, the battery is going to read full, because we have full power, right? If I just had a battery on right now and we're not plugged in, it would give me a true reading of the battery. Okay. The breakers and the fuses are in behind this plastic panel here, which is usually beside some kind of a covered door. This one's right by the main entrance. Basically open the door like so. Breakers are vertical right through here on the 50 amp trailers, which is all the reflections are, and then the fuses are across the bottom. They're all labeled both ways. You guys know what a breaker looks like if it's kicked. It just kind of looks like that. You just push all the way across, push it all the way again, and then we have LED lights underneath each fuse here, letting you know if a fuse is blown, that light will light up. They're also labeled, making that nice and easy. Right on. Let's move back into the trailer. You got lights and stuff like that. I'll let you, learn where those switches are, those kind of things. One thing is though, there is a backer right here to put a secondary TV, and there's a cable and satellite hookup up here. We talked about hooking those up. If I were to put a bracket here, there is plywood back there. What I would do though, before I put a screw in there though, is I would grab a small drill bit, very small, like eighth of an inch kind of thing, and drill in and drill in just half an inch or so to make sure that there is actually plywood backer there. If you just run a screw in, it's going to kind of make a mess of things, and then if you have to move that bracket over, it's not going to look that great. So I run a little test drill bit in there. That way, if there's not something there, it's nice and easy to fill. It's not a rough kind of hole there. That's just a little thing. You can always bring the bracket to us and we can install it at the regular orientation, but that's how I would mount one right there. Also, there is studs every 16 inches on this model, and you know there's a stud wherever there is tape. So it's hard to see, but you can feel it. This panel stops here, this panel stops here, and there's a piece of tape that bridges that gap. You know there's a stud there. So you can always know for sure there's a stud wherever there's seam tape. Let's head into the washroom. There's a couple things we should talk about in there. So to conserve water, you have a shutoff on the shower head itself. So you can have the water at the temperature you desire. Okay, rinse up, turn it off through here. Okay, sud up, do your thing. It's still at the right temperature, and then you can turn it back on to rinse off. Right, that's one way of saving water. It's a 6-gallon water heater, so you get about a 5-minute shower. But if you want to have a couple showers in a row, you're going to need to conserve water. Another key here is you have to leave water in the toilet bowl. If you don't, your bathroom is going to stink because there's no real odor trap. Your household toilet has that little S-strap to it with water in it that doesn't let the stink from the pipes up into the house. This doesn't have that. It just goes straight down to the tank. So you have to leave a couple inches in the bowl, keeping the stink down. If you don't, it's going to stink. Okay? We do install max airs now on our trailers, our new ones. So you can actually leave your vents open in a rainy or traveling situation. On the regular vents, not the Fantastic or Max fans. We don't put covers on those. We just put covers on the regular vents. Okay, let's go downstairs, see if I can think of anything else to talk about. Oh yeah, we got some few things. Talk about the fridge, microwave. If you don't know how to use a microwave, there's no hope for you. We'll come down here. We have a DVD player. Again, I'll let you play around with this. Basically, this is a DVD player, radio player. You have a zone 1 and 2. Zone 1 is inside, zone 2 is outside. You can play around with that. Your DVD, you put it in through here, it's going to come out on your TV. That's audio video stuff. You can go to certain switches and do your thing there. This guy right here is on an arm. Okay. But this little bracket right here has to fit into here for travel. Okay. If it's not all the way back, your TV is going to be coming out on the road. So when you go to travel, push it back in all the way. One other thing is, like I said before, we have a TV antenna. There's no controls inside, like to crank it up anymore. It's just up there permanently. You don't touch it. Okay. But you have to turn it on. And that's what that switch is for. Okay. So there's a little red switch here. You turn on and a little red light lights up, letting you know you're boosting your TV antenna. If you try to watch cable while you have your booster on the antenna, it's not going to work. So turn that off when you're going to watch cable. Okay? And then back here is another satellite hookup. So remember I said there's 3 spots. that you can run satellite in. There's one coming out here, one coming into your outside TV, and one coming to your bedroom. Okay, specific lines for satellite. If you're using cable or the antenna, there's just usually the cable spot. Okay. All the way in. Okay. Now our fireplace, you turn it on. Okay. You can adjust temperature, timer, that kind of fun stuff. There's different flames you can have on. I'll let you, level 5, level 4, level 2, level 1, whatever. You get the idea with that. It is 1500 watts, so it does put out a good amount of heat. It's electric, of course, so you can, heat your trailer for free, basically, because you're not usually paying hydro if you're moving around. But yeah, just a nice little feature there. This is one of those things, the first couple times you turn it on, it's going to stink, right? Like it gives off those off-gassing a little bit. So that's pretty standard. That's going to stink, and your furnace is going to stink. We run them for a little bit, half an hour each, but sometimes they still stink just with the paints and stuff like that. You got receptacles. Oh, we should do the trifold sofa. So you just pull these out of the way. Okay. Lift this up here at the back. Flip it over. So that's how that works. It is a little bit lumpy, right? But it's reliable. It's not like an air mattress where you don't really know if it's going to work half the time. It's like a queen size. I think it's just under a queen size. But that's how your trifold sofa works. There is not storage underneath. There's only like a couple inches you can store like a sheet or something like that underneath there. Fold up something and put it in. But this part of the couch here folds underneath. So there's not much storage at all there underneath. Cool. Great, I think that's it, guys. Everything else is kind of self-explanatory, like where the switches are, those kind of things. You're just going to need to figure that out for yourself. If you have questions, call us or email us. But that's a orientation as good as I can on a reflection product. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a good day.